So Andy, this time a week ago we were looking forward to a challenging week back in the National League. Challenging it's turned out to be. I think we've seen the good, the bad and the ugly in the National League. How do you reflect on the past 7 days?
Yeah, it hasn't been a good week. Let's address that. I mean, last week at Chesterfield we knew that was going to be a tough game. I think what upset me and probably disappointed my group of players is we played, after the first 15 minutes we played really well, and actually decisions went against us, which I think was really harsh. I'm not going to blame the officials, and that's not what it's about. I think we've got to look at the goals that we conceded, and we conceded poor goals at Chesterfield with all the hard work we've done, and that upset me a little bit for the group. And then we come on to the game against Barnet. We started badly, you know, in the first half. There's no doubt about that, and we didn't get to grips with how they were set up. Half time, we changed things. We had a few words at half time, and we come out and we looked a really good team again. We looked like the Bromley of old, but then we showed signs of the Bromley of new, which I don't like. You know, we switched off at a corner, and that cost us. Actually, the first goal was the goal that cost us. The 3 goals, of course, you know, that's not good. But the first goal was the one that cost us. We switched off, they got a shot away, and then their towels were up, and then you're in the lap of the gods in those last moments. They're going to throw everything at you, and we didn't deal with it. So it's been a disappointing week. I think what we'll look for now is a response from the team, and that's what we've got to do. I say it all the time, every team in this league will have bumps in the road in the season, and we just experienced ours in the last sort of 7 days. We've got to make sure the bumps in the road finish now, and that's what we've been working hard towards.
It's interesting you make that point, because looking at your time here as manager, the team rarely loses games back to back, and they certainly don't kind of tend to lose more than 2 in a row. Does that underline perhaps the strength of the fight that your team has, and are going to be really wanting to kind of put to bed a bad week tomorrow?
Yeah, look, we have got a team that represents what I want them to represent. You know, I don't think it's ever been thrown at us that we haven't had a go or we haven't worked hard enough. But we've got to have a bit more to us than that now. We've got to make sure that we're all accountable, and people don't switch off, and people have given jobs and roles to do in the team. And I'd even go as far to say, you know, the subs come on, they know their job. And when they don't do their job, it frustrates us all, because all the hard work we've done is undone just in that moment. But you know, I went at the beginning of the season and I said we're a work in progress, and I still believe we are a work in progress. We had that little run where we was all probably maybe really chuffed and things were going well. Football doesn't always work like that, but we'll be okay. I'm really confident we'll be okay, and I know people are disappointed, and I am, no one's more disappointed than me. But we'll be okay, and I know that everyone's really behind us, which is lovely.
Absolutely, we are. And as a manager, you're constantly having to look for solutions, things to be done better. One thing that perhaps probably I know is a concern to you is the goals that we concede in extra time particularly, and how perhaps we could be even higher up the table. What do you put your finger on that being the reasoning?
Well, it's hard to measure that, because everyone says concentration is the obvious thing to say. How do you measure concentration? You know, I think it's just people just in the moment forgetting their jobs, or just switching off, and now that is concentration. But how you measure that, I do not know. So we've gone through all this week, not that we've done any other week, but we've really had a long week of really you know, drilling down more, making sure everyone's accountable, making sure everyone knows. And that's not to say we won't concede again at the end of matches. We will, that's football. But we've got to make sure we tighten that up, because that's something we've never really done since I've been in this football club. So yeah, we've been working and trying to fix that, and look, we'll have to get through some nervous 5 minutes for the next few weeks, I'm pretty sure, because that's how it works. And when we come through that, I think we'll grow on that, and that's what we've got to do.
On a positive, we head towards the end of October, in and around the playoffs, exactly where we want to be this season. We travel to Maidenhead, whose form kind of mirrors our own. Always a tough place to go to. What sort of contest are you expecting?
I think it's always going to be a tough game at Maidenhead. I think you know, and I mean this with respect, you know the pitch is on a little bit of a slope. You know there's probably going to be wind. I wouldn't be surprised if there's hailstones, because there always seems to be something. You have all of that. It has all the trappings and trimmings of making it a hard day for you, and that's what they want, and that's what they're good at. That said, they're a good team. They're not. You know, Alan Devishire's teams are always very good. He's an astute man. So we know it's going to be a tough contest. It will come down to those fine margins and those fine moments, and we've got to make sure that they start swinging our way a bit more. I go back to the other night. I mean, we should have been out of sight in that game. I'm getting tired of saying that. So something's got to change, and you know, we've got to make sure we address these issues. But like you say, it's going to be a tough game at Maidenhead, and we'll pay them the respect that they deserve. And hopefully we will concentrate on our performances now.
Like you say, I think every football club is always going to have bumps along the road in football, highs, lows and everything in between. For a manager like Alan Devonshire, who's probably seen it all as well, has that extra experience, how invaluable do you think that is to Maidenhead to have such an experienced manager?
Yeah, I think, look, Alan's been through the mill with Maidenhead for many, many years. I'd love to know how many years. I probably should look at it. I'd say it's at least probably 15 years at least, and probably more. He knows that place inside out, and he you know, he's probably been through every trial and tribulation I'm experiencing at the moment. But I would have said that, you know, the biggest thing, everyone's got to stay together and everyone's got to make sure we sort of all pull in the same direction. And I feel that here. I feel everyone, you know, it's not a panic, it's a little bump in the road, and we've got to make sure that we all stick together and address it. But we had a bump in the road last year a little bit, and everyone pulled together. And that's really what we've got to make sure we do. But yeah, Alan's been around the block a long time, and he'll know exactly how to deal with most things.
And you've mentioned wanting to instill into the players kind of a confidence in front of goal, taking their chances. Rumours are circulating that a certain Andy Woodman who participated in training to give them a true test of getting the ball past you.
I mean, I the other day I went in goal and said, you won't beat me from where they were shooting from. And there was a bit of me thinking to myself, what if they score, you know, get their confidence up a little bit. I actually made a few saves, rolled back the years, and I actually started thinking about making a comeback until I woke up this morning and couldn't move. But yeah, we had at the end of a hard day's training, we had a little bit of, I created a little bit of competition and a little bit of fun with them, with me being the competition there to beat. So that was good, and there's some video footage flying about of that. But the lads are in good spirits, you know. We've got good. I repeat it. We've got a really, really good, honest, hard-working bunch of players, and we have staff. So, you know, I hear the murmurs in the background. I speak to people in the bar after. Sometimes it's tough. I get their frustrations because there's no one more frustrated than me, and we are doing everything we can to stick with the big boys. And there are some big boys in this league, and we are doing okay. I don't think we should be panicking or pressing the alarm bells just yet.